All right, good morning. You guys hear me in YouTube land? Please let me know. Pulcino, thank you. I'm assuming you can hear me. Good, thank you. All right, let me do this disclaimer real quick and I'll be back in 90 seconds.
Risk disclosure statement. There is a risk of loss in trading stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, derivatives, options, forex, and cryptocurrencies. This risk can be substantial and therefore investors should carefully consider their financial suitability prior to trading. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. The software, strategies, chat rooms, websites, and any associated websites are digital and used for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an express or implied promise or guarantee that you will prompt trade that losses may be limited in any manner whatsoever. Users of the information accept sole responsibility for the outcomes of their deployment and most stocks have trader, LLC, and any associated companies, agents, management, owners, and customers are listed without reservation. Please trade responsibly. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CITC, Rule 4.41, hypothetical and simulated trading performance results have certain inherent limitations, some of which are described herein. No representation is being made that any account below is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. In fact, there are frequently sharp differences between hypothetical or simulated performance results and the actual results subsequently achieved by any particular trading program. One of the limitations of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with benefit in hindsight. In addition, hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk, and no hypothetical trading record can completely account for the impact of financial risk in actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or adhere to a particular trading program in spite of trading losses are material points which can also adversely affect actual trading results. Because these trades have not actually been executed, the hypothetical results may have under or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. There are numerous other factors related to the markets in general or to the implementation of any specific trading program which cannot be fully accounted for in simulated trading or in the preparation of hypothetical performance results involved, of which can adversely affect actual trading results.
This trade room and this webinars are not intended to mirror my trades or to give specific trade recommendations. The analysis and setups I share trades and potential trades that I take for myself based on my personal analysis. The goal of this room is to teach traders how to identify specific areas to trade and to themselves, but ultimately the decision is yours. Trading is extremely risky, and if you decide to follow my personal trade, you do so at your own risk and can potentially lose your entire account and even more. I'm not always profitable and have routine drawdowns on my trading accounts. The spreadsheet you have access to is my personal spreadsheet that I use to enter zone values and ATR values that help me pinpoint exact prices for my trades. You can see when I enter zone prices into the master spreadsheet as well as the prices that I trade whether you go long or short. You have the ability to copy the spreadsheet and enter your own values and use mine to confirm the zone prices until you're able to draw the zones correctly yourself. The spreadsheet is not telling you which direction to trade as it has entry prices and stop prices for both long and short positions depending on which one you personally decide to trade.
Alrighty.
According to Politico, Pentagon says China now has more than 500 nukes.
Alright, so they're for some reason talking about nuclear weapons for China. That's got to be good news. Everything's good news in these markets lately, no matter what comes out. But these markets look like they're going to get killed. I don't know if it's going to happen right now because there's about 55 Fed speakers today. You can see here coming up on the Squawk channel here. Let's see. So many guys are talking today. So you got the big guy, the other big guy at 9 o'clock. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And then another one later on today. So, I mean, this has just been nonstop lately. So, you know, we talk about my trade room all the time. You're rolling the dice when these guys are talking because anything, you have these algos that are set for these keywords and anything out of their mouth, the market can rip a certain direction. All bets are off based on, you know, whatever area you're looking at, SI, you know, stop iceberg indicator area or anything else you're looking at. All bets are off a lot of times when these guys start chirping. So usually it's good cop, bad cop. Today might be, usually these guys pump the market up and then he comes in and speaks in reality and drops the hammer. So I don't know how they're going to handle it today. Maybe he pumps it up and then they drop the hammer. I don't know. You're never going to know until it occurs, but just be prepared for some whipsaw action. But that being said, you know, all we can really go off of, all I can go off of is market structure and real-time volume events. That's the core to my trading. So we've talked about this multiple times in my room lately, what's been going on here in ES. This thing has had plenty of chances to rip, and it just can't do it as far as the bigger picture. This was a breakdown of this balance area at the time. It came back. It held a high volume node. That was still bearish. Tried to break down again. Then it failed again. So this looked like this was going to rip. It should have ripped. It didn't. Instead, it built more balance here. Then you had a failed breakdown of that structure. That should have ripped again. Didn't. Held, came back, built more balance, and now it's building more balance. This looks to me like this is going to get smushed. So again, we talk about all the time. I'm a day trader, right? I'll trade both ways. I have an opinion on the market, but you know, everyone has an opinion on the market. I will have an opinion, but I will trade, even though I think these markets, based on what's going on here, especially, so this, now you can make this a bigger balance area too, right? And then balance pretty much at the bottom of this. This is all breaking down. Well, I'll still take longs per se if I get them. So if right now, if I got a long in my inflection zone here, my Izzy zone, I would still take a long. I'm a day trader. But the point is, if I start getting setups to the downside, I can trade bigger based on what I think is going to happen. See what I'm saying? So you can eliminate one side of the market. Some traders do that. But, a lot of days you're going to be missing some counter moves that happen all the time if you're not, participating. And the great thing about what I'm doing and with my trading and teaching is using these SI events to real-time volume coming in to judge, to get the percentages in your favor, the probabilities in your favor. So either way, these markets look like you're going to get killed. Nasdaq, same thing. You can see here it's starting to break down out of this. You can make this a bigger balance area here. Broke down, came back many times. When markets break down out of balance, that's not a very good drawing there. They will come back, retest the bottom of the balance, then die. They'll even come up to the high volume node, then die. So I could see this thing chopping around, but I think ultimately it's going to do that. We'll see. But either way, this is not looking good. I would love a setup right now on Nasdaq. There's just nothing going on. I would short this in a heartbeat if I get it. So this is the thing. If you're just using charts or these other 85 indicators that most traders are using, you're like, yeah, this looks like a great place to short. Well, I agree, but I don't make my move until I see a real-time volume event. That's the trigger, meaning off this SI indicator, that's the trigger for my trading, because that's the most important thing you can be using, in my opinion, from watching markets for 25 years. So, speaking of which, there is absolutely nothing going on. And when you're getting this, so these algos can read this stuff just like we can read it, right? Whoever's using Bookmap, they see the same stuff. And when the big money's not playing, it's let's whipsaw all the retail traders to death. So you be well advised when you see this type of volume to kind of stay out of the way. If I get a volume event, then I'm ready to go. If not, they can play their games for the next 4 hours. I'm not going to be participating. So that's basically what's happening right now. Nothing is really going on. Crude, not sure what's going on with this market. I keep thinking it's going to rip. You can see all these buying tails here. So, these inflection zones, which actually let me post this too. So these zones are available in my room. There's just, these aren't like magic. They're just things that happen on the chart that are important, right? So the four important areas of charting are tops and bottoms of balance areas, right? Directional conviction, high volume nodes of balance areas. So I don't usually draw the high volume nodes by themselves because they're just a general area in a balance area where the most trade occurred. It's usually smack dab in the middle. But I'll draw them if they're confluent with something else. But anyway, tops and bottoms of balance areas, high volume nodes of balance areas, directional conviction, and buying and selling tails. So tails are very important because it shows instant rejection, right? And it also shows, so like in this one, for instance, this showed instant rejection. It did move higher, and then when it broke that led to this now move, right? So that's why you really want to pay attention to the tails. So you can see here, this is like a ridiculous amount of tails here. So you had tail, tried to break that, put in another tail, tail, and another tail. So, it looks like this is going to do this, but it's still not happening. And I can tell you, my opinion, if this breaks down under these, then, and you can see this was directional conviction this day, gaps are directional conviction as well. I think this thing's going to rip down minimum here. But for right now, I would be leaning long, more than leaning because of all these buying tails, right? So you see what I'm doing here? I'll still take shorts if I get short setups based on my rules. But if I get a long setup, I'm going to take the long trade for bigger size because of what I'm seeing in a bigger picture. Do we trade silver today since nothing's going on? Anyway, this is what you should be doing every morning, taking a look at your bigger picture stuff. So then when stuff starts hitting, the SI indicator setups start hitting, you're ready to go, and you're not like a deer in headlights trying to figure out where we're at. So the other thing I use here is to come up with a thesis, market profile composites, and Ludwig levels. So Ludwig levels can be used in many ways. Support, resistance, targets, so on and so forth, but how they react to the lugs, and there's really nothing going on here. So the yellow lug Ludwig level is just basically like the mean, the median. So you'll see a lot of choppiness around here. These are the major lugs is where you get the support and resistance, and when they bust through, it gives you information, so on and so forth. So hopefully we'll get some kind of information from that at some point in this webinar. Anyway, and then market profile composites. So composites are just the daily value areas. Merge. So that's some wheat. We'll go over there in a second. So so this is a single day, right? So I do pay attention, but I don't really trade off of these. But you can see this broke down. This is crude, broke down, came back, tested the point of control, which is just the most traded price of that day, and then broke back out. So that's giving you some kind of idea of what could happen here. But I use composite market profiles. So it's when these days, when you get a day and then another day, if it's more than 50% of the prior day, then I merge them together and then I draw the composite. So just another way to come up with a thesis on what's going on. Here I'm not getting much. This composite held and it actually drew the top of this value area. And again, on a single day, yeah, it's looking bearish, but single days aren't as important as composites. So this is basically in the middle of nowhere, and it's in the middle of nowhere here. So I don't really have an opinion based on this stuff. I still think it's going to rip, but we'll see. Let's see if we get a setup today. So we heard there's nothing going on. So guys, this is exactly why you want to be watching other markets, right? You pigeonhole yourself into the ES or NQ and just stare at nothing going on, and then you start forcing trades because a lot of you are trying to make a living doing this, or your rent's coming up or your car payment's coming up, and you force trades in crappy markets because you have to make money. Well, first of all, if you have to make money, you're never going to make money, take it from me. But on days like today when nothing's going on, actually I think we just got to set up here in NASDAQ, so we'll come here in a second. When there's nothing going on, you can focus on other markets, right? And the money's just as green as in wheat as it is in ES or soy oil or silver or whatever. All this stuff is relevant, the stuff that we use. It doesn't matter what market you're trading. These volume events, it trades the same way because the volume events are traders that are basically investing and or trapped. That's what we're taking advantage of, and that's the fuel that drives these market moves, right? So it doesn't matter what market you're watching. You just need to know the threshold of each market that is a meaningful amount of contracts traded, right? So I know from watching, this is part of my trading course, actually let me post all this too. I know from watching wheat for 5 years and thousands of setups that 150 is tradable when I get 150 on this subchart, right? So this, for instance, this sell ice here was 616, and you can see how this market moved away and then retested it and it's failing it. So that was great information. Sell ice that led to now this down move, right? So that's very important. Let me, before I forget. So this is just all my information. Here's the new course. These are the, you can get the spreadsheet that I use on these webinars and we use in my room. This thing's a godsend. It's awesome. It's actually, it will look like this form for you. But you can get a subscription. This stuff's all free to my room, but if you can't get in the room, you can get this subscription based. And that's this here. Just go there, and I have. Oh, by the way, people that are subscribing to these zone charts, there's something wrong today. My programmer's looking into it, but I couldn't post like half the charts. So hopefully I'll have those up by the end of the day, or I mean by the time I'm done with this webinar. Anyway, here's a spreadsheet, the zones, and then you can get both. Like I said, the spreadsheet is incredible, where you just you plug in your your account size, how much you want to risk per trade. Again, you shouldn't be risking more than 2% on a actual account. I'm more aggressive here with these Apex accounts, so I risk 10%. But then you plug in your ATR. We'll go over all this, these trades, the zone price, and then it tells you exactly where you enter or exit. So let me post this, and then we'll see what's going on in NASDAQ. And then you have the natural gas numbers coming out here in second. My mic's muted. Discord is okay. Sorry. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. All right, can you hear me now? It's not a AT&T commercial. Can you hear me now? Let me know. Sorry about that. That's that, and it's already posted in the Discord room. So, can you guys hear me in Discord? Please let me know. You should be able to.
I'm taking a look at the VIX. Currently up 1.15% at 19.43.
All right, so let's see what's going on here. I probably shouldn't have waited so long to get over here. Nasdaq is a quick mover, obviously, but we're all right. Still sitting in here. All right, so it's
Iceberg sells EW 151 contracts.
So, you know, my threshold for NASDAQ, meaning a tradable event, is 150. You want to be very careful when piecing. You can see there was a stop run on 91 and then 62, so that was the 150. This is going to look different. I have this, so there's another thing too. So this is the zone. We have this automatic drawer of zones now. That's just a lifesaver. It saves me so much time. This is going to be available for subscription as well. We're doing a beta test in my room right now, so you guys can get it for free if you remember my room. I'm trying to get it in a beta test for Bookmap Discord as well, so you guys can try it, because we want to see how many people this server can hold and so on and so forth. So hopefully that's coming. Other than that, this will be available for subscription soon. Again, it'll draw the event when it happens, so I don't have to sit here and use this 1978 drawing tool where you got to go to edit, then horizontal line, then get out of the edit mode. It's just a huge pain. So this is just a big help. You know, and adjusting it is much easier too. So you basically just go in this little ellipse here, and then you can move it up and down. So these zones are they're not perfectly accurate all the time, but just getting it drawn here and then being able to adjust it is a lifesaver. So you're going to see here. So this my clock on this computer is off by like 10 seconds, and it makes a difference. So you can see how this looks here versus my other computer. And this is where the zone drawing tool is what it's based off of on this computer. So you can see here, this is why it looks different. So the reason I'm showing you this is because a lot of times on these webinars, if you're seeing like events on my computer versus yours that are different, it all has to do with the time of your clock, right? So you can't see the seconds here, but I know this is like 11 seconds off. I have to fix that. So it draws it differently. So for instance, this was threshold as one pop here at this time. See, I was 154, so it drew the zone onto my this computer. But see how it looks different here? It's just based on the time on my clock, because I'm on reset mode. So I don't want to confuse people right now, but just know that's why. So, I mean, technically this was an event. Like I said, I'm very careful in combining two events just to get to threshold. But you can see on this computer, this was a threshold event. So. And there's really nothing going on, so I'm okay with drawing 150. You know, we talk about all the time on days that you're seeing 150, 200, 300, 200, 300. You probably don't want to be using 150, right? You want to up your threshold for that day, but I'm fine with using this. So this is the event that it just drew on my other computer that all the other members have too. So that's why this was 150. So I'm gonna draw this event is what I'm gonna do. I mean, I'm gonna use this event to trade off of. So this started right about here. You can see these buy sweeps come in. So this is a sweeps indicator you get with Global Plus. Very helpful to see, you know, the buying, and it helps you draw your zones too. So the sweep orders get first right to the order book, right? So the stops don't fire off until the sweeps are at least beginning to be done. So you can see I want to draw this where the sweeps start, not necessarily where the stop runs start, because the stop runs could have been down here, but they don't trigger until whoever's sweeping this is done. I know you can see the sweep started here, these white dots, but I know the stops weren't here because they were already triggered up. You know what I mean? So I would move this to this price right there as far as the zone bottom. So this is all we do, right? We find these volume event zones, and then we draw them and trade off of them. And then the top here looks like just kept coming in after that. Let's say it's right there. So you can see this spike here. That's correct. And then what's great about this, it's right here, 88.50 to 73.50. So we plug that in the spreadsheet. I already have the 9Q up here, so let's put that in. I already forgot the handle. 15.088.50. And 15.073.50. There is literally nothing going on, like as quiet as a church mouse right now. 27.51 is your ATR, so we're using a 5-minute Wilder's ATR. All right. So how we use the spreadsheet is how I judge these volume events, whether they're bullish or bearish, is when this market can push an ATR out of here, right? So all these prices are on here. So to validate this is a long setup, market needs to touch 15.116. To validate it as a short setup, it needs to touch 15.046, right? So that's until it can get an ATR one way or another. I have no idea which way to trade it, and I just let it be, right? So this never got up to that price on the upside, and downside I think we just touched it. So I forgot what I said. 15.46. So this is a bearish event, right? And this is what I've been waiting for. I wanted to get a volume event in this zone. So this is I should already be short here because my Izzy trades are aggressive trades. So you can see, meaning I don't wait for retest. We'll go over this retest of the zone. So this market came back up into here, got your stop run, buy stop run, which we call a dumb and dumber when it fails. This is one of my 6 setups of my trading course. The 7th setup is coming. By the way, if you have the course, I'm going to put it in there. It automatically updates. You'll get an email that it's updating. Anyway, Izzy trades. There's certain trades I wait for, or trading strategies I wait for the ATR, a retest, then a failure, then I get in. There's certain trades that I get in the minute it breaks out of the zone, and this is one of them. I should already be short, and the price is in here. So I should be short at 15.041.75, and this tells me based on the zone. This doesn't seem right though. Is it only 3? Did I do something wrong here? That seemed here. Let me plug it in here too. I just want to make sure this is correct. That doesn't seem like enough. Hold on. I'm sure the market will wait for me here. 15.088.50. This is the master spreadsheet that the website spreadsheet's based off of, so I just want to make sure this is correct. What did I say? That was 73.50. Because there were problems with that website today. That's why I want to make sure this is correct. And then now it's up to 26.20. Yeah, that's right. So I could put on 3 contracts. So I should be going short here aggressively at 41.75, which I'm going to do. We have a couple hours until the next Fed clown starts to talk here, so if that comes down to 41.75, I am going short aggressively, and that is the Izzy trade. Hold on, putting that in. Hold on, NASDAQ. Of course I missed it. All right, so I'm short. Did this retest? No, so that's the one. I'm short this strategy. This market moved into that inflection zone I just showed you. Stop run, dumb and dumber, failed out of here, I'm in, first move out. Now if this, depending on algo guy, this is how I filter out. So this is what we're using in my room for all these. There's many more to come. I'm going to have a course on this soon too, as each one of these strategies. This is the trade I just took, Izzy. Take fade trades with moves into prior inflection zones. So that was that prior inflection zone. Market moved into this zone, which is also the bottom of this balance area. Bottom of the balance area from yesterday. I love that trade. Actually, I'm supposed to be trading double size here. Hold on. All right, if that comes back, remember I talked about if the thesis is in my direction, that I think it's going to break, and I get volume events that confirm that, I trade bigger in that direction, right? They're called A+ trades. Anyway, move back in here. So there's a reason I just filled on this second, my double up there. There's a reason I don't wait for retests. Some of these strategies I wait for a retest because they're not incredible powerful areas. I know these Izzy zones, inflection zones, are very powerful. So this may not, the majority of the time this does come back to the zone, but this may just keep going and I don't want to miss the trade, right? So there's certain strategies on here that I wait for the retest. We actually have a strategy. It's a very important strategy that many I can't do them on these webinars most of the time, but many traders in my room where there's just an uncanny, you guys have been hearing me talk about it for 5 years, there's an uncanny occurrence where these markets come back to this volume event, right? And what we don't know is how many ATRs away before the thing snaps back. Well, the sweet spots for equities are usually a 1 ATR or 2 ATR. It'll touch that, these algos will snap it back to the volume event. So we actually have a trade that is based on that occurrence, right? It's more of a scalping trade. Hold on, I just want to see something here. So that's the, so the top part of this spreadsheet, if you subscribe to this or come to my room, you get this spreadsheet. Like I said, this is for the position tradings, right? So I just took an Izzy trade. Those are looking for bigger moves, and we'll go over where I will get out of this if it starts moving in my favor, where I'll get out of some of the contracts. The bottom of this, I don't have it plugged in here, you can just see it on here. This is for the reversion. So if I wanted to take the 1 ATR, meaning you had your volume event, when it gets 1 ATR away, I get in, that's that price, and then all I'm doing is playing back to the zone, and then I'm out, right? That's the trade. This is like your own little algo. And this is a great trade, like I say every day to my room. If you have trouble sitting in trades, like it's too subjective. You're like, well, I don't know, where should I get out? You just literally get in here. Your stop goes here. You're out there, and you're just waiting for a move back to the zone. So that's the 1 ATR price. This would be the 2 ATR price, 26.25. We're playing for that, and then you can do 3 as well. So what I tell my room is, they're always like, well, what's the best one to trade? Well, certain days the 1s work nonstop, certain days the 2s are better. Whatever one you're going to do, you want to be like an algo, and you want to take them every single time, or as many as you can, because you want to utilize the probabilities of it happening, right? So the 1 looks like it's going to lose on this instance. We have disqualifiers. I'm not going to get in all those right now. So first, all right, nat gas numbers out. Something just happened in ES. So I am short NASDAQ. I want to start to look at, I'll get back to the reversion trade here in a little bit. You can learn all about it in my room. All right, so an area that I'm watching here very closely is the blue lug, right? We're still about 30 points away from there. I will probably, depending on, we're going to try to judge here when it gets down here, whether I'm going to get out of this full position I just put on. Remember, I got short at 41, whatever, 41.75. I'm going to judge here. Most of the time, I get out at the lugs. These things are way too powerful. This one actually punctured through and then got back up. So we do talk about this as well. If you guys haven't seen the Pamela Ludwig webinar I did with her a couple years ago, where I was just learning these things and I wanted to know the best ways to trade them. She talks about this exact occurrence on that webinar. I'll see if I can find it and post it. Where if it gets through a lug and does not have the conditions to draw new lugs, when it gets back above, many times that leads to a rip. And you can see that's exactly what happened here. And then it stopped at yellow lug, stopped close to yellow lug, back here again. So the point is, I'm going to watch this very closely. I will probably be out of the whole position. But we will judge when it gets down here. And how are we going to judge? Well, we can use a couple things. The couple things I use is tick strike. So this is showing me, I have the FANG stocks here, so really nothing's going on here. These are this is a algo that's based on the speed of the orders coming in and the time of the orders, or the quantity of the orders coming in. Again, this is all on here. You can get discounts to that right here, tick strike. And then the other thing, the newest thing that I use is this market pulse. So I have it turned off right now. I really wish they get it into a different pane, because it's a different subchart, because I don't like everything on top. This gives me a headache looking at this, but I'm going to be able to judge when it gets down here if market pulse is like tick strike on steroids. We'll go over that, but I'm going to use that to judge if this gets down to this 75 area. That's where the blue lug is. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get there. But you can see why I take Izzy zones aggressive, or Izzy trades aggressively, because it may not retest this zone. Right, so that's why I got on the Izzy trade aggressively. So hopefully we can get down to the blue lug and I can judge what's going on. And you can see here, so these meters, this is tick strike again, that goes from 1 to 15. If you see 15, that's like max selling. So you can see they're hitting all these futures markets, but this is interesting. They're not really hitting all the FANG stocks right now. So this may be a head fake down move. So I'm going to pay attention here closely near that blue lug. I will get out of this entire trade. I'm fine with that. Even though I think these markets are going to get killed, I don't know if it's going to happen right now because of all the Fed guys. It may just rip right back. All the Fed guys talking here shortly. All right, something happened in the ES. Hopefully it's waiting for me. Let's see what we got. Hopefully it drew my zone, and it did, like clockwork. And you can see this stop run happened right at these spot gamma levels too. Spot gamma is an important part of my trading as well. I'm actually teaming up with them. We're going to do a series of webinars here coming up. This is the hero indicator that shows you the options activity. So, you know, the one thing that, and this is what Spot Gamma reached out to me to be their futures trader and go over this stuff, because a lot of people are using this hero. This is very important information. So showing you options flow real time, right? Very important. Why? Because these options dealers are a big part of the futures market, because they have to hedge their positions. So it behooves you to know the areas where the biggest options positions are. That's this. And again, you guys can get discounts to that stuff on this. This is this right here, Spot Gamma. I don't think I have the hero, but if you go to if you click on this on my website, if you want to try out this hero indicator that I'm talking about right now, hold on. I probably should have just clicked on there we go. Whatever this code is here, I forgot. This one, so you get an extra week to try it. So you can try it for 2 weeks. Use Scott50. You can try it for 2 weeks for free. Anyway, very important to keep an eye on this. So right now, let's just see here. I'm going to turn off. This is showing me next expiration. And they actually have I'm colorblind, as you guys know. They have a colorblind feature on this that I didn't know about. It's awesome. So if you go to preferences here, you can actually turn on colorblind friendly. I didn't even know they had that. I'm like, that's awesome. Anyway, just for you guys that are colorblind. So this, you can see the options are moving in tandem with the market, and I guess this started for many times. This is how you want to use this. When you see, say the market's just hanging around, that's this whitish line, whatever color that is. When you see the options, this means they're either selling calls or buying puts. That's leading to this is helping with this move down. This is not red light, green light indicator though. That's what I'm going to go over on their webinars with them, so on and so forth. But this is an important area here, as far as you got a volume event at this spot gamma level. So this could bounce. Speaking of which, I want to make sure I don't miss this move. This gets down on the blue lug. So if this gets anywhere near that blue lug, I may have missed it. This is not going to surprise me. We talked about how these markets come back to this volume event, right? But a day like today, when I know Powell's talking here in about an hour and a half, and see, here we go. So this is the routine. So it doesn't panic me yet. It sucks. I wanted this thing to go straight to my exit area, of course. But this doesn't make me like panic out of the trade. So if you got short there with me, you're like, yeah, that's a great idea. I'm going to get short with Scott. How many of you guys just panicked out because it's doing this? Well, I expect this because this is what we just talked about. We have a trade that plays for that type of move back to the event. So now this is when the algos start screwing with everybody. Nothing's going on. Now they start to whipsaw. Everyone gets out because they're afraid of, that they're going to get back all their profit, which I just did. I had 50 points in that trade, and I just let it come back. Well, first of all, I expect this to happen because it happens 70+% of the time from my studies opinion, right? So that's one, I expect that to happen. But two, there was nothing down here for me particular. I have certain areas, and that's part of this. I show you guys every week. I have certain areas that of course, I'm signed out of this. Come on. Hold on, guys. Now I gotta try to remember the password. Just work, please. All right, there you go. All right, so I pay myself as the market makes money available. And this is straight out of Trading in the Zone, by the way. Get the book, audio book, it's awesome. And I put my own stuff in, obviously. So Ludwig levels, we're looking at the blue. Market profile, composite highs and lows. POCs, VWAP, extreme standard deviations, spot gamma levels. So these are all areas that I will piece out of the trade. I didn't see anything down there. Hopefully I didn't miss anything to get out of any of that short. So then I will sit here and ride it back and forth until it comes back to an area that I deem important. There were no spot gamma levels. I entered at one up here, but that's not where I'm getting out, obviously. So I see nothing down until here. This is a really important area. You see all these levels here. This has a very good chance, if this does sweep down here, of bouncing off this area. Why? Because options dealers have to hedge their positions down here. So that's where you want to pay attention. And I use these in the very basic sense. Support and resistance for these levels, and then I keep an eye on the hero, right? So you can see that hero turned up there. That's this gray line, or whatever color that is, and the market followed. So today, this markets are really following the hero so far. So, I'm not using that to get out right at this minute, but I'm just, it's good to see. So anyway, there was no reason to get out on spot gamma levels, and I didn't see anything on my charts to get out. So I'm going to ride this back and forth, right? This touched the 1.5 standard deviation of VWAP and popped off. Well, that's not good enough for me to get out. I need to see confluence. So if there was something else down here, like a baby lug or market profile composite, I probably would have got out of a couple there. I didn't, so I'm just going to ride this thing until it either gets down here or stops me out, because there's nothing for me to get out. If this would have come down to this, I would have definitely been out of some, right? You see there's nothing here in my trading why I get out, so I sit here and ride it. And it doesn't, I'm not freaking out because it's heading back to this volume event. That's what these markets do. So, and this is exactly why when I put on trades, I force the market. So if I'm going to be wrong on this trade, I actually haven't even put my stop in yet. Remember, I got in at 41.25. I forced the market to come back, however many ATRs, and get through the volume event, which many times, this is what the trade is that we may take here too. We may take a bark trade here, blind ATR retest failure. But I forced it to get back through the event and show me it can push an ATR out of that zone, and then I'm out. Yes, I'm risking more. I know how many traders are cussing me out right now, like, that's ridiculous, you're going to risk, and it shows you right here how much you're risking, right? So I'm risking basically 75 points on this trade. Well, these position trades, I'm looking for a minimum because it's based on the volatility, the ATR, that's showing you the current volatility, the zone price. That's showing me, yeah, I'm risking 76 points, but based on what's going on with volatility and how high it is, so on and so forth, I think this could be a multiples R trade. So I think I can get at least 1 R, probably 2 or 3, especially based on what I was seeing here for this trade. So I'm okay risking that much because you got to realize these markets are 85% or more algos. That's when they do this to you. So when they know nothing's going on here, they start to mess with you. So if I'm going to be wrong on this trade, I will not allow them to take my money whipsawing back and forth. This has got to get back through the zone and through all the way an ATR out of here. And then I say, okay, uncle, I'm wrong, on to the next trade, right? So in the meantime, I'm just going to probably watch this retest. And if it does do this and fail, then I'm going to put on a different strategy, maybe multiple. So, but do you see if you can understand what's going on in these markets and you know the routine, you're not panicking that this came all the way back. Yeah, it sucks. I wish some days you get a straight move right into this stuff. Today, it's not surprising, again, because I don't think the big money's really placing any bets until these Fed guys come out. So you're going to get algoed to death. So even if you put a trade on, you're gonna sit through this, very likely, right? So I'm not panicking. I don't panic anyway. It's probabilities, right? This is not a for sure. No, nothing in trading is for sure. I know I have the edge in my favor, so I just keep putting on the trade. So if this were to rip up and anything, here we go with you guys are ready for the rant. Anything can happen. Once you understand these 5 truths, where's that? And this is I say it every week, prerequisite to come in my trade room. You got to tattoo this to your forehead, a real tattoo, or your thigh, or just read it every morning. If you can internalize this, you are on your way to becoming a profitable professional trader, right? The 5 truths. Anything can happen. I'm in this trade now. It looks like it's going to do that. Well, say they find a cure for cancer. Market's probably going to do that, right? Anything can happen. So as long as you have your stops in, you just let the trade work. That's what this is. Put the odds in your favor, right? And then the rest of this. There is a random distribution between wins and losses for any given set of variables that define an edge. I know my edge are the volume events and how these markets react to them. So when I see them and they fit my strategy, I put the trade on. An edge is nothing more than an indication of higher probability of one thing happening over another. a probability. There's no sure thing. If you have an edge, it's just, we say it every week, and it's the best comparison that I can make is to a casino, right? The casinos know they have the math, aka edge, in their favor. They just keep dealing the cards. If one guy comes in and smokes them one day, that would be the equivalent of you getting stopped out. Do they shut down the whole casino and say, oh, this stuff doesn't work, I'm done? No, they know they have the edge. They keep dealing. Same with this. If this rips through this zone, stops me out, I say, okay, great. I know I have the edge. On to the next trade. Once you can get to that point in your trading, then you're pretty much there, right? The problem is most traders don't really know or have an edge. They see something work, for a day, a week, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to start trading that, and then they have 4 or 5 losers in a row. Like, oh yeah, I'm done with that, and I'm on to the next one, right? There is no disputing this is an edge. You can go ahead and get Bookmap. If you part of my room, you get the data feed. So I have access to the data feeds for the last 3.5 years. Pull up the data feeds. That's another great feature of Bookmap. You can rerun the day, so you can literally run this day at 150 times speed. Run the day, mark the areas of the volume events, and find out for yourself if this is the best edge that you've ever seen in your life, right? It is for me, and I've been trading 25 years. And like I tell you guys every week, I showed you my trading a couple weeks ago, back in the day when I was flipping 1,000 lots, things like that. You'd be hard pressed to find someone who's seen more volume activity in their life than me, right? I'm just not bragging. It's just the truth. I'm just telling you. That's how active I used to be. I used to average 50,000 contracts every day, and that's when the E-mini S&P was only averaging 500,000 contracts. So I was 10% of the volume every day. My point is, I've seen a lot of volume action, right? And when I tell you this is the greatest edge that I have ever seen, then you might want to listen to me. If you don't want to listen to me, that's fine too. But the whole point is why I teach is to show you guys so you don't have to go through 25 years of anguish. Learn what I'm doing, understand volume, and you are well on your way, and know that you have the edge. So now once you know you have the edge, you just keep putting the trade on. You don't have to question, oh, does this work? I don't know if this stuff works. I'm telling you, it's the edge. All right, somebody just texted me something. Let's see. The drawing tool is not user-friendly. How do you, I'm reading in the Bookmap room, how do you figure it's not user-friendly, Stephen? And how do you even have the drawing tool? Are you part of my trade room? Because if you don't, are you talking about this one? Absolutely. You're exactly right. I thought you were talking about the automatic one. You were talking about the Bookmap one. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's not user-friendly. That's why actually a guy in my room is from France. He's a very smart man, Johan. He devised a way to have these zones drawn. So yeah, you're exactly right. It's not. I thought you were talking about the new one. I'm like, it doesn't get much user friendly. It's awesome, and it's gonna be enhanced too. So hold on, somebody in my trade room sent me something. Let me see what they're saying here. Don't forget ESFN. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, let's plug this in. It's really done nothing. I got on my little rant there, so let's plug this in because I know how many of you guys love staring at this market. You guys, this is the market I made millions of dollars in, right? And I still hate it. It's just, there's just other markets you could be trading. I'll trade it, but it's not like I won't stare at this thing all day long. All right, so here's a good example, right? So you can see on the sub chart, this is my threshold, 500 for stop runs in ES. There's your 500, right? Well, do I draw the zone, start the zone right there? No, I'm going to start it up here because these sweeps came in and they get first. Whoever dropped the sweep, sell sweeps in, I call them swipes too, they get first right to the order book. Then once they're done, then the stops can come in, right? So I don't know where these stops here, were they here, I don't know. So I start the stop zone, top of the zone, where these sweeps started coming in. Yes, they started coming in here, but you see a buy move here. Well, see how this price already traded here. So the stops couldn't have been there. So I won't make it there. I'll make it here. I have to make it here, even though it's showing down here, because these sweeps could have triggered it. See what I'm saying? So hopefully that's not confusing to you newer traders, but I'm going to make the zone, bring it down to there. So let's find this little ellipse, bring the top down to there. How cool is this drawing tool? Keep saying it. So, and then it looks like it came all the way down to there. So I have for a zone 43.30 quarter to 43.26.75. So now I go to my spreadsheet, plug that in. I'm just going to use the master one here, so I don't have to plug in all the values in the one. 43. I think that's what I said. 43.26.75. Thank you, by the way, Big Al, for telling me to don't forget the yes in that. 43. Of course, I forgot what I said. 26.75. I cannot do two things at once. We're driving on the expressway. If my wife starts talking, like we're heading to an exit, my wife starts talking to me, I miss the exit every time. Like I cannot think about, I can't process that way for some reason. My mind is very fast in processing, but for some reason I can't do that. So anyway, the ATR, we're using a 5-minute Wilders ATR, so it's default on Thinkorswim. You can get this on Sierra Chart too. I shown how to do that. If you guys want to see it, just let me know. I'll show it again if it's, I get a chance. 6.12 is your current ATR. That's very, very important. That means the market's rotating about 6 points every 5 minutes, right? That's important information. Two things that drive markets: volatility and volume. So this is what I use, right? So we know that. We know the top of the zone, bottom of the zone. So that's step one, right? Plug that stuff in. By the way, Nasdaq's just doing nothing, just hanging here. So this is the kind of trade I expected. That sucks. I was hoping we can rip down to that blue lug and get out of that trade, but I was expecting this type of whipsaw trade today until these Fed clowns start to talk. All right, so how we're going to determine how we're going to trade this is, one, we want to know our prices to validate a long or a short. The validation price to make that a long setup, 36 quarter. A short setup, 20.75. Until it can touch either one of these prices, I don't know how I'm going to trade this particular setup, right? And if it gets an ATR out of here and it makes this a long setup, I cannot take shorts per my rules, right? These are my rules that I've developed from watching 5.2 million of these things, right? So if this did get up to 36 quarter, any ideas of a short for this setup are done. I can't take it, and all I can really look for is long. So it's that side of the market's eliminated. In this instance, nothing's happened here yet, so I'm just waiting. Then I go to the bigger picture stuff. One, for my trades like the bark trade, the lick trade, I make sure algo guy is in my direction, right? Algo, this is an exponential moving average. I post it every week. If you guys want it again, let me know on YouTube. I'll post it again. That explains what this is. It's just, these are moving average ribbons. That's all it is. Very important. And we call it algo guy because there's so many algos that trade this thing, right? So when the blue, the short-term exponential moving average is below the red, it's bearish. When it's above, it's bullish, right? So I will only take certain strategies like the bark. Bark is just blind, ATR, retest, confirm. Bark, lick, lick is a bark that I'm trading for the liquidity, towards the liquidity. So I can only take those if this is in my favor. So this is in my favor, I mean, as far as in that direction. So this is in the short mode. So I can't take shorts off of this setup. I cannot take certain longs. So I cannot take any of these longs, the bark or the lick. I can't take that one. I can't take that one because algo goes in my favor. It's just one filter I use. It's an important filter to stay out of the choppiness. And I went back and I was looking at my trades, which you should do. And this is actually in here too. This trader view. Highly recommend this thing. Or not trader. I used to use trader view. I use TraderSync now. This thing is awesome, right? You get a discount for that too. Everything on here you get a discount for. But anyway, you really want to use that. So one of the main traders in my room, one of the best traders in my room, he said once he started documenting the stuff, that's when he took off, right? So he's made a lot of money in this last year since he's been in my room. Anyway, I forgot what I was getting to on that. Why was I saying that? I can't remember now. I've been talking way too much. So anyway, I'm just waiting. I can't take the strategies to the downside or to the upside. So if this does turn out to be a bullish setup, I can't take for those strategies. For my other strategies, let's see where we are. So then I want to know where we are bigger picture. I don't think there's any bullish strategies here either. Let's look at our Thinkorswim. I, of course, lost my chart like I always do, and then I got to go through for 85 charts. Here it is. All right, so this is really, as far as along, this got through this Izzy zone. You know, this is a zone, it's a general area, but it kind of got through here, so I wouldn't take an Izzy here. If it would have gotten into this zone, I could have taken an Izzy long the other way, like you saw me taking Izzy short the NASDAQ. This is the middle of nowhere, so I'm not going to take any long here. If this turned into a long setup, I'm saying. So that still hasn't happened. So there's just nothing happening, guys. So I just wait. I wait to see how this reacts. See what's going on with this clown show. Nothing here yet either. Just bouncing around. I am surprised this hasn't retested this zone yet, because that usually happens by now. Again, we have a trade for that. All right. There was some stuff on natural gas after that number came out. Let's see what happened here. Not work out real well for the longs. So this would be an example of a lick trade, right? So you see, and I'm talking about longer term liquidity. What's liquidity? They're just orders in the order book, a lot of them, right? This is just giving you a different view of that. So instead of trying to figure out relatively what's a lot of size, all you gotta do is look at your heat map, and that's showing you. So this would be a trade. Again, I didn't take this trade, but say I wanted to trade towards this liquidity, because the markets usually get to the liquidity because these are the big players. The big players will force the market into their orders, right? This is what I did all day long when I was a big scalper. I showed you guys a couple weeks ago in my trading. So I would literally load up the order book on the bid side, right? And then I would start selling. I mean, this is a big move, but I would start selling, and then as I got closer to my orders, then I would step on the gas and sell a bunch more, and then people would jump on my coattails, and they would push the market right into my waiting orders, and I was out of the trade. That was the game I played all day, every day, and that's the games that are still going on here, right? So you can see right into those orders. So if you have this information, that's the key, right? Yeah, I say all the time that these markets are 100% manipulated by the big money. I know that because I used to do it, so I know what's going on in here. Point is, if you have this information and know this, you can join them. You can see what they're up to, what they're trying to accomplish, right? So up here, if you love to short for whatever you're looking at, you say, you know what, I'm going short because I know this market's going to make it to this liquidity, right? So this is something you should be looking at every morning too. Take your markets and scan where the major liquidity is. So like, let's see here, anything in NASDAQ? Nothing really. This liquidity I don't pay attention to. Why? These are just algos snapping the market back and forth. I don't pay attention to that. That's just algos. Spoofing. I know spoofing is supposed to be illegal, but what's spoofing? Spoofing is when you put an order in and you have no intention of filling it, right? Well, if they had intention of filling, they would just put it in and you just see it sit here. You see how it's moving. As the market moves closer, they pull it back. As it moves away this way, they pull it down. This is spoofing in its finest. It's supposed to be illegal. Do you see it happening? I do, right? So the point is, they have no intention of filling these orders. They're just, whatever game they're trying to play, they don't want to get filled. That's why they keep moving it away. You're watching it, right? That's just this stuff. That's why scalping's so hard these days, because these algos are so damn fast. You can't judge, especially staring at this thing, right? So that's that. Basically nothing's happening is what I'm saying. Let's see if you guys got any questions, so I can take a breath. Nothing really. Yeah, you're using keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, you can use keyboard shortcuts for these for the drawing tool. It's still a huge task to get in it. You got to get into edit mode, right? There are shortcuts for this too, but you still got to get in edit mode. Then you got to come back or use your hotkey. These are my hotkeys, right? You still got to do that. Then get your horizontal line, and then you draw your lines, and you got to get back out of edit mode. It's just, this drawing tool is awesome. So again, we're beta testing it in my room. Come in there, you get this for free as of right now. That'll help. What would also help if this market could move out of these areas, that would be great, because there is nothing going on. Let's see here. Oh, so what I was looking at, I know we already went over that. I was looking at the bigger picture. So I'm still, like, if this setup turns out to be bearish, I'm going to trade double size just like I did in NASDAQ, right? Because of what we talked about. This market is now breaking down out of all of, now just imagine, when you have questions in trading, just say, what would I do if I was the bigger player here, right? Or if I've been sitting in this for days, pretty much week and a half, right? What are you thinking if you're the bigger player here and you're now right here? You're ready to puke your brains out is what you're ready to do. You're like, I got to get out of these positions. That's how you have to view these markets. And that's what it means when balance breaks down, right? This is starting to break down. You have, so many times, like I said, it wouldn't, especially today, it wouldn't surprise me to come back to this zone, which it did, or even this zone. But until it can get through this high volume node, which is basically this zone, I would favor all short trades, right? Just based on common sense. These are traders. The longs in here are not feeling very good right now, right? So any move back, imagine once again, just put yourself in the position of the big trader. Pretend you work for a firm and they let you put on 20,000 ES contracts and you're long, and the market does this, and you're not at your stop loss limit. Say you got like a $3 million stop loss limit or whatever it is, right? And you're holding your breath. You got a certain price that you're going to puke them out, but until then you're holding your breath. And as of right now, you're saying, you know what? Whatever I saw, this obviously isn't materializing. When it comes back, I'm getting the hell out of this position. And this is exactly what I used to do, guys. I used to be loaded up in a direction, and I would literally pray to the Lord above. So say I got long in here, right? And it would start to do this. And I only had, because if I had 1,000 on, I only had, my loss limit for the day was supposed to be 100 grand. It doesn't take long to lose 100 grand when you have 1,000 on, right? So I would have a point, I'd have my finger on the trigger, be ready to puke if it touched that price. So if it would do this, I'd be like ready to puke, and I'd be praying just, okay, I promise God, I promise I won't do anything stupid again if you could just bring it back here. So as it would come back here, that's where I would get out. And that's what ATR retest failure is. It's when the guys that are loaded up in these areas, they pray, it comes back, they say, oh God, thank you, let me out. And then the next wave down is them getting out. Right? That's how you have to view these markets. If you simplify stuff, guys, I'm telling you, you will do much better in your trading, because that's pretty much what's going on anyway. So if you don't believe me, just watch these markets for a while and then you'll believe me. All right, so you see, I didn't panic out of my trade. I didn't get algoed, and that's all that was. So maybe this will make the move down to the blue lug and the spot gamma levels. Or it could just keep doing this for the next 2 hours until the Fed guys start to talk. I don't know. So I have my rules. I know I don't stop out in the middle of nowhere. They got to get it up here to stop me out. And or the best case scenario is when you do get the trade on, like I have on, you get a new event, new volume event like this one. Now you take your stop and you trail it to the new event, right? Look at these algos just screwing with everybody. It's frustrating, especially every trade on. So, and again, I have 30 points in this trade right now. I'm not getting out, because there's no reason for me to get out here. I don't have any important areas, so I just let the trade work. Yes, it's going to suck if the thing rips back and stops me out. I mean, you could get out here. This is daily value area, aka 1 standard deviation from VWAP. I don't get out at those areas unless it's confluent with something else, maybe like a market profile, something else, composite area. There's nothing here, so I'm not getting out. But you can see it keeps bouncing off this daily value area, right? It's just algos playing with your money right now. So we just sit here and wait. Right back up, because this is what it does. But the point is, if you understand this stuff, you're not panicking every time it makes these rotations, because it's just algos. It would be nice to get out of the zone after half hour. This zone has literally been sitting in the zone for a half hour in ES. All right, let's see what's else going on here. Some stuff in wheat. So the great thing about this drawing tool as well is you can just come over here and see how do these markets react, like at these events. So you can see here, this was at the time, this was a double, looks like a double whammy. Yeah. What's a double whammy? Buy stops in the waiting hands of sell ice. So I actually did not draw this on. I wish I would have seen this earlier. So right here you see the buy stops 225. So this is wheat. Threshold for wheat's 150. So anything over 150, I will draw the zone and trade it. Buy stops, you can see it there in the sweeps as well. And it triggered right into the hands of sell ice. You can see the sell ice drew over here. So I would probably, let's see where that happened. Basically right there, right? So 87. So I would have made that zone. Actually, it was 86.75, I think. So where that sell ice started too. So I would have made that zone like that. That looks like the high there. I don't think it went up there for the ice. So that's the zone that I would have traded. That would have been step one, right? We're just going over that, and I'm just showing you guys it doesn't matter what market you're trading if you have your thresholds. These markets react the same way. So let's see if that was an easy trade where I could have been short aggressively. Did not. There was no easy trade there for me, so I would not have taken that as far as an aggressive entry. Then down here you got some sell ice. So this is obviously, let's see what this was. That's 157. That's threshold. You actually had some more over here. I would probably combine these two. This is why I don't know why this one didn't draw, but it didn't. That looks like it's the same price though. So in this case, this is definitely looks like an ATR retest failure. So this potentially could be a bark short for me if it comes back out of here. Let's make sure Algo Guy is bearish. I don't think it is, so I can't take that trade. Remember, I just talked about using this as a filter. So I don't. The only trades I can take, the non-aggressive ones, aka Izzy's, so on and so forth, are in the direction Algo Guy. So I can't really take anything here short on the short side. If I get a new setup and it turns out to be a bullish setup, then I'll go long. So I'm just eyeballing these markets to show you guys, in instances. All right, so this one, sell ice came in. Maybe we'll look at some market pulse examples today since nothing's going on here. Let's see here. So this is the market pulse. This is the newest indicator. It's awesome. They actually built this on my recommendation like over a year ago. I said, hey, you guys need something like, like Tick Strike. But the problem with Tick Strike, and I asked them I've been using this thing for 13, 14 years, right? And I still love it. Especially for they're gonna have a market pulse for the FANG stocks as well. But I still use it. I used to use it just to alert me with other things going on in the markets, right? So if I'm not staring at something, I had no idea like crude was moving. Tick Strike, like for instance, like right now. See this right here? I can hear this go off. Can't really hear it right now, but and then something's going on in crude. Well, nowadays we got the SI indicator and everything else. So that's how I used to use it. But this is important. But the problem with this is there's no history. So I've asked them for years, hey, I want to see when Apple, Microsoft, Amazon were all minus 15. How did that area react after the fact, right? And it doesn't show you. They don't have that capability. I don't know why they don't have that capability, but they don't. This shows you. So you can see, like for instance, this was, like I said, soybeans. You can see the buyers were extremely aggressive here right off the bat. And mine is set to, so you guys are always asking me for settings. So if you go to Market Pulse here, mine is set. So these are for these individual ones. So they're all the same as far as how I look at them. So this is soybeans. You want to pick volume, pressure, and balance. They've got all these different ones now. I don't even know what a lot of these are. I'm going to do a Bookmap webinar with the developer again to go over these new ones. But anyway, I have mine at volume, pressure, and balance. Then I have it the threshold, meaning it will draw that color if it gets to be 70% or higher of the highest buying or selling in the last hour. I have mine set to an hour. The default's 5 minutes. Well, 5 minute, you're going to be seeing them nonstop, right? I don't want to, it's just too much, meaning I'm seeing the highest buying and selling for the last 5 minutes. So like this is what it would look like here, right? Well, there's a ton of them. This is actually not even that bad, but there's a bunch of them. This is not giving me that great of information. This one is set at the hour. That's a whole different ballgame, right? So you can see the buyers came in here. These were some stop runs too, but you see the heavy buying there, heavy buying there. This is really good information. So what do you see here? This is a great example. What do you see here? I see buyers were aggressive. Buyers were aggressive. How did that work out? Buyers, not so good. See what I'm saying? This is incredible information. So say you're long. You're riding up, you're like, yeah, oh, here come the buyers. I got that. Oh, more buyers. Sweet. And then it doesn't go higher. Then you're like, oh, crap. Why are these buyers not winning? The minute it gets below here, you can be out of the trade, out of some of your trades. See what I'm saying? So this is how, barring another event, right? So say there's no SI event, but you don't want to hold it. You say you just caught an awesome trade. You can use this market pulse information. Look, if these buyers aren't winning, why would you want to stay in the full trade? I'm not saying you get out of the whole thing. You may want to hold on a piece for these larger moves. But for the short term, if the buyers aren't winning, you don't need to watch this thing come all the way back on you, right? And that's basically, it's coming back now a little bit, but, you had to withstand another 40 ticks down, right? And then you can see here, then the sellers got aggressive there, and it held. So it's important to see what happens here. But the point is, you can use this market pulse information. I think this is part of Global Plus right now to help you judge whether to stay in trades or not. There's going to be more examples here. Like, let's see here in crude, what's going on. But anyway, I have mine set at 70%. That's the default volume, pressure, and balance, and I have it set for an hour. You can make it. It goes all the way to 48 hours. Then you're going to get a lot less setups, right? A lot less alerts. It'll only do this. You'll see it maybe twice in a day, something like that. That's important information too. But this is telling me in the last hour what's a lot, what's a little. Actually, we're looking at crude. Let's see what this looks like. Again, I turn it on, toggle on and off because they have it on the same subchart as the SI indicator, which I wish they would change. But actually, I don't even have this one set up. So here we go. Let's set this up because the crude just rolled, so I didn't have this set up. So let's go to Market Pulse. This is how you want to do it, right? Hit create. This is what they need to change too, because if I don't know what I'm like, what is ETH? This is a crypto. Like, why does it? You got to know, and then you don't know how to change it. If you go down here, put this in, then it gives you. Let's see. Then it gives you the options of up. They have this back. I don't know. I already told them about this. I don't know why it's still like this. Anyway, you got to change this. And then you get your options. So there's your CL, Z, right? And then I open this up, expand it, and I want to change it. Get this off of 5 minutes. By the way, the markets are finally selling off here. I'll come there in a second. I just leave this as default threshold 70%. Then you want to hit show widget. Then it'll start to populate. See right there. You just X out of there, and then it should be on here. There you go. All right, and I changed mine to yellow because I'm colorblind. But you can see here these were synonymous. See these two? These are the biggest buying in the last hour, and you can see the sweeps, sweep, sweep. So this market should, if it's going to continue to be bullish and these buyers are right, it should not violate this area, right? So you see how important this can be, barring an event. There's no events here, so I couldn't trade off that. But I can say, you know what, if I was long, I'm like, yeah, I got it. Got that. Yeah, they're winning. They are winning. But if this gets back below here, get me the hell out of some of these. See what I'm saying? That's how you can use Market Pulse. There's many ways. I give many examples how you can scalp with this. All you guys that love to scalp. Well, this is the key to scalping nowadays, not staring at the order book, in my opinion. You can really catch some huge winners, risk reward, just with this stuff, the Market Pulse. All right, this may get down to my area. ES is just sitting in this zone, but Nasdaq's starting to sell off. So I got 40 points in it again, but we're not in any area that I get out. So I'm just going to sit here and get whipsawed back and forth for the entire webinar. See, and you can see here, this may just pop back up. You see the sellers aren't really engaging here yet, at least for the last hour. They were engaging here, and it looked like they were wrong, and then the buyers were wrong, and it's just whipsawing back and forth. This feels like, to me, right, so you had the volume events over here, then you had heavy selling, and then you had heavy buying. Now it's just doing that. This feels like breath holding, more so on the buy side, right? Because these guys can't be feeling real good right now. You're probably going to start seeing some pukes here if this moves a little lower. If this gets below this low, I will bet you see a sell stop. And then I can trail my stop and or get out at this major lug. So how about that happens? Because I've paid my price on this trade as far as watching it. Eyeball torture. So again, I will be watching this very closely. The blue lug, very, very powerful. The second most powerful thing I've ever seen in my trading career are the lugs. And then that's real close to the top of this too. So I'm not going to mess around. If this gets down here, I'm not going to let this thing do that on me. I'm going to be out of this trade. But in the meantime, the torture continues. All right, you guys got questions, throw them in the YouTube, please. Hopefully you guys got a good sense of the Market Pulse. All right, no questions. There's a lot going on here, but let's see what you guys look like on Market Pulse earlier. So you can see here, this is pretty much what led to this down move, right? First of all, buyers were aggressive. This is right after the open. No dice. Doesn't move higher. Sellers sellers, 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 moved higher, more sellers. What did it do out of this area? So it's not that you just jump in the minute you see sellers, because they could be wrong. But when you know that area and you see 1, 2, 3, 4, this one almost got to threshold, meaning the 70%, 5, and the buyer was wrong. The buyer was wrong. This almost got to threshold. So you see the sellers. You don't know. This is just like events. I don't know until it breaks out here. But the minute that broke out of there, it's like, okay, I'm going to go short here and I'm going to risk above that. See what I'm saying? So I can tell you, I can't tell you anything. I'm assuming, right? These sell stops that happen here, that's part of that. Let's turn this off again. These sell stops that came in were probably the buyers that got loaded up there, right? Somebody, if there's a seller, there has to be a buyer on the other side, right? If not, it would be a vacuum and it would just go to zero. There's got to be a buyer. So all of whoever was absorbing this selling, they probably said, oh crap, puked them out. That's how you have to view these markets. You don't have to make it that complicated. You just have to see who's being aggressive. So you can use this. This is more fleeting, right? This isn't like you can expect huge trades off of it, but it's important information. What you can expect huge trades off of are the volume events, and that's what I trade off of. So let's just watch this real time in crude to see what happens here. Again, we're just looking at market pulse right now. There is nothing going on in any of these markets. I'm telling you, they're all waiting for these Fed chirps, right? But so if I'm long crude right now, I'm not. If I were, let's change these colors too, because it's really hard for me to see the spikes. So if you right click, no, that's not right. Hold on. Colors. I want the buys to be yellow, because I am called red-green color deficient. That's the color blindness I have. I'm sure many people are familiar with it and have it. So I can't really tell the difference between red, green, browns. And this one I'm going to turn black. Hold on. See, I can't even tell. That looked like green to me, and it was orange. So that wasn't even there hasn't even really been any sellers in here today. Let's see, maybe this one was. Colors. Negative is black. There you go. So back to the present. Now they just came in again. And you can have the sounds too. I have my sounds turned off because they get a little crazy. Oh, by the way, here we go. You may see some puke in here soon. They're starting to hammer the FANG stocks. So this is good information, especially when it gets to the lug. I can determine if I'm going to get out of the lug or not. How about we get down there? Since I've earned this trade. Turn this off right now. We'll go back to crude here in a second. Here you go. So here's another example here. Now I may get out of a couple of these. You see these sellers are getting aggressive here with the swipes. It hasn't hit the threshold on the market pulse, but you can see sweeps, sweeps. This thing should head lower. If it doesn't, I can get out of a couple once it pops back above these sweeps area, right? So let's see what happens here. I will gladly get out of a couple because I'm sick of watching this thing. Okay, you can do it. Remember, I'm not going to mess around down here. If this especially before the Fed, it's very easily can go like that, right? So we got that, and you got that, and you got baby lug down here. You got extreme standard deviation. Another sweep down here. I'm going to be getting out of at least some of these. If this pops above where these sweeps came in, these sell sweeps, I'm going to probably get out of 2. How many do I have on? I have 6 on. I'll probably get out of 2. Wow, this is like pulling teeth today. So I'm just going to put my order above, put it at like 14. So I'll guarantee myself like close to 30 points of profit on this one. I'm sick of watching this thing. But you guys, you see, I'm not getting out at randomly, right? I'm using this information that I'm gathering from Bookmap on my sweeps indicator. So my sweeps have settings too. These are my settings for my sweeps. I usually set them for where they'll draw at the stop threshold, meaning 150 for NASDAQ. Where's it at? Where are they at? Why can't I find the sweeps? Oh, it's right. I'm on it. That's why. It's right there. So 1 second, 150. That's when it'll draw. All right, this is real close. I'm not messing around here. I'm sick of watching this thing. Come on. All right. Any kind of bounce, I'm getting out of this trade. I'm going to get out of 4 of them out of the 6. Hold on. So I'm going to give this a chance. I'm going to watch this. If it starts to bounce, I'm out. This is where you can use your bubbles. This is the only time I really use bubbles. It's just buying and selling. Hold on. Come on. See, I can hold on. I'm trying to hold on to these, see if it can bust through and get down to the spot gamma, because I see them hammering the fangs. See what I'm saying? See how I use this stuff all together. Here's some more sell sweeps. They're trying to buy this, and it ain't working right now. So I'm going to try to hold this a second. Keep going. You can do it. See how this stuff can help you? And I can tell you, if this can't break, if this just spins like right here with all these stocks getting hammered, that's telling me something too. Now we're right at the blue lug. Any kind of blue bubble, I'm going to watch this, but I'm probably going to get out. Come on. More sweeps. But you can see market pulse is not the highest selling of the hour. That's interesting too. All right, I'm going to get out of. All right, I'm out. So you see these kind of stop coming in. I saw the blue bubbles coming in. I saw these sweeps. They're wrong as of right now. I'm out. There you go. I got out of all of them too. I'm not holding them. Right at the blue lug. I'm fine with that trade. It's very close to market profile composite high from this guy. Right there. Right there. Selling subsided. Extreme standard deviation. Very good chance it bounces here. Am I taking a long? No. I need a volume event for my longs, but I will get out of my trades at important areas. There you go. Out. Does it mean it can't come back and bust through and make new and go lower and make new lugs? No, that's fine. I'll be ready to get in my next event. But there you go, guys. This is why a lot of lessons here. This is why I didn't wait for a retest, and this thing tried for an hour to retest. It just couldn't get there. But this was that inflection zone. Izzy trade strategy. So this is the point. And you guys may have obviously you guys have other areas you deem important. Great. These are my areas. This was a perfect Izzy trade, stop run into an important area. You may like the 200-day moving average. You may like Bollinger Bands. You may like whatever the hell you guys are looking at. That's fine. Demand you get a volume event in that area. I demanded a volume event, and I took that trade, and I took it aggressively because Izzy's are very powerful. That's why I use them and give the room these. And you guys, you can get them for the subscription, like I said. I know because it's such a powerful area, it may not retest. Especially when we talked about how this is breaking down out of this balance area, right? So now where are we? Now this is into this puppy. What's going to be a very important area is the high volume node of this, right? Right now it's just at the top, so I could see this bouncing off here too. So this is an example now. This is an Izzy zone this way. If I get a volume event, and I've talked about this whole webinar how I'm bearish these markets. Would I not take along? I will take along if I get the volume event. Right? Because this is an Izzy zone and I'm a day trader. But the volume event see, this is the key, right? This is not enough just having this zone. Yes, the zone is very powerful, but even in the Ludwig levels, I know how powerful the Ludwig levels, and how there's a chance it bounces off of there. That's why I got out. But I wait, I find my important areas, and then I need to see something real time to get out. And you may be saying, well, why don't you wait for a volume event to get out, just like if you would enter? You could, right? But you're not always going to see volume events. I don't need to let this come all the way back on a day like today, especially with the Fed guys. I'm going to get out of that in that area, and that's what I did. So nothing going on here. Oh, speaking of which, this should be. Oh, by the way, here quickly, see how this market pulse was telling you. You can stay long. There you go. And you saw it on the sweeps. How important is this information? Like, there's no better information. Volume drives markets. All right, this may be turning into a bearish setup. Finally, what do we need? Remember, you got to update your ATR too until you get the trade on. So the ATR was 6.12. Right now it's 5.91. So So now to make this a short setup, I need to see the validation price at 20.75. Not yet. So this is telling me something too, right? You have seen this thing they've been hammering these FANG stocks for 15 minutes. Why is this barely not getting out of the zone, right? So what would not surprise me, first of all, you can see where this is going. We've talked about this. Real surprise. I wonder if these guys are going to push the market into here. But I'm telling you, something's up. This thing didn't, NASDAQ sold off, but the ES is pretty much spinning around. So you can bet if you get a volume event and it turns bullish, this market's probably going to rip out of here, because they're just not, the sellers are not being aggressive. And you can see it even on the market pulse, right? Am I doing anything with that right now? No, I'm not trading off of that right now, but I put that in the back of my mind, especially if we move down to an Izzy zone and I get a long setup, then I'm even more confident in putting on a long. I'm not bullish these markets, but I'm a day trader. I'm a short-term trader, so I will take advantage of that if it presents itself. Of course, I lost my chart once again. Here it is. So let's see if there's any Izzy zones down here. So if I already know it has a really hard time selling off. They've been hitting these for 15 minutes. If this comes down here and I get a bullish event, I will turn around and go long. Right? It hasn't happened yet. I'm just coming up. It's trading as if-then scenarios. I know what's down here. I'm ready to go long if it presents itself. I also know if that market goes ATR retest failure of that volume event we've been waiting on for an hour, I will go short. So I'm just waiting to see how this happens. So this volume event, or this zone, Izzy zone, directional conviction. This is like a 20+ point move, and then it came down, retested, and then led to that. This is an important zone. And then what you want to watch is the top of this balance area. That's that zone. So we'll see if it gets down there today. What will you see as a bullish event? The driver of my trading, an SI event, stop iceberg event. That's this stuff. Let's turn this off. So if this gets down, say it gets down to that Izzy zone I just showed you, just short for inflection. I call them Izzy's, right? Inflection zone, meaning where important things have happened. Say this comes down here and I get an event like I got there, and it gets the ATR out of there. That's a bullish event, right? This event could still be bullish, and this is exactly what I was thinking might happen. Like I said, this is what happened during 15 minutes of selling of the FANG. It did nothing, right? So this isn't surprising me. This is ripping back right now, and this is still not a bearish event. This has not been able to push an ATR below. So you could take longs off of this still. For me, there's nothing here to go long in this area. But if this moved down here and I got an event, I could go long. But you may have something right here that you love, that you've been waiting to go long. Well, if this can get an ATR above this event, then go long. And then you place your stop below it, ATR below it. That's how I trade it. And that's all on the spreadsheet. Everything is in here. So if you want to go long this market, per my rules, you go long at 43.37, your stop's at 20. Until it can get above there, then I just wait and see how this reacts. But do you see the information you just got from you having tick strike and market pulse? This thing was spinning around and would not do anything while they were hammering this stuff. Market pulse was not showing you any kind of extreme selling for the last hour. The most it got to is probably, I don't even know what this is. It's not showing the percent. Oh, I showed it down there. Let's see. There you go. 46%. That's nothing. My threshold, I want to see 70% of the most selling hour. This is so all that selling with all these stocks, and this market pulse was doing nothing on top of it. This was kind of showing me this was going to happen. How do you use that? Well, I didn't go long because I have my rules for my longs. But say you were short and you saw that. You don't have to let this happen. This is 10 points. You could have said, hey, no market pulse. They're hammering this. Market pulse isn't hitting. It's spinning. I'm going to get out of some of my short. I'm just giving you guys examples, right? That kind of showed you that was going to happen. And we just talked through it. As it was down here, I said, this is probably going to do that. Did I trade off of it? No, that's not one of my trading strategies. But I'm aware if I were short, I would have been just like watching this stuff in crude. If you're long, you really want to watch these areas that you saw all this buying come in. It should hold and continue higher. If something happens and it gets back below here, you do not want to be long right here. or you want to get out of some of your longs. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you can use all this stuff together. All right. I'm getting close to the timer. I'm getting tired of talking anyway. Isn't ES a slug long? It could be, yeah. I did not. Are we at the lug? I have not looked at lug once, so this is an error on my part. I might be missing a trade here. Hold on. It sure is. So guys, this is what I want for my trade room. Do you see how some of my trade room just alerted me that I'm going to be potentially missing a slug? This is this trading strategy right here. Stop run at major lug. And that's aggressive. What did we just get? There was a stop run. This is at the lug. It went a little lower, but it didn't. This does not violate on the downside. So I can go long. Now I have a strategy. So I was just talking about how I can't go long this strategy. Or I mean, I can't go long this event. Well, I actually can. I made the error of not looking at my lugs. I've been staring at the NQ lugs forever. By the way, this market just bounced off of them. Here, let's just quick look here. Let me put this in first. So I'm going to go long the setup now. I didn't see this. See, that was just an error. That's all I do on these webinars is make mistakes. This is what I want for my trade room, and they're getting much better at it. Pointing out setups. Hey, guys, there's a slug. Hey, there's an Izzy. Hey, if everybody's collaborating, it's like our own little trading firm. Everyone's working together, right? So thank you, Mouthwash, for putting that in there. Now you can see it bounced right off of the lug, as did this. I think this went a little bit lower. Hey, there's a reason I use these things right there. Again, that's in here. Go to our website right here. You can get the free day trial to watch them for yourself. So you saw them here, and you got a special pricing. All right, so I'm going long this setup aggressively. What did I just fill? What was that? Oh, you know what? I forgot to get out of that. I had that NASDAQ. Remember I was getting out? I'll show you what I did there. I just forgot to cancel my order like always. Anyway, I'm going long at 37. Just make sure your ATR is correct. It's up to 6.07 now. 37 quarter, I can put on 6. This is aggressive. I'm not waiting for a retest of the zone. All right, so that is working. It probably won't happen while we're on the webinar, but I'm going to go long at 37. The spreadsheet tells you everything. Long at 37 quarter, and I stop out. Yes, I'm risking 17 points. It's all contingent on the zone size and the volatility. I think this market can go a minimum 17 points, maybe double, triple that. If this gets rolling, right? And you guys, I've been talking about the whole webinar how I'm bearish. Do you see? I'll still put on the long because the volume event is telling me if this market is truly bearish right now, then you shouldn't be seeing bullish volume events, right? So this is my driver. I will go long. It's going to be painful because I don't want to go long, but the market doesn't really care what I want. I'm trading off of what I'm seeing. So that is working, 37 quarter. Anyway, remember before we hit the lug in NASDAQ, remember I was saying I was going to get out of a couple if it popped back above where the selling came in. So let's see what's happening here. And that's where I forgot to cancel that order. That's why I just got out of that. But anyway, very important information. Sweeps, 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 sell sweeps. You didn't really see anything in market post, but how are these guys feeling that we're all aggressive right here? Probably not real good. Probably going to do that. That's how you use all this stuff together in conjunction. All right. Any more questions? Throw them in. Pretty boring day, but we caught that was a 70-point move we caught in NASDAQ when nothing's going on. And it was so many good examples today of helping using the sweeps and market pulse. And most important, the second most important thing I've ever used, the lugs. Look at that. Right off the lug, right off the lug. You guys, you don't need to watch me. Just get them for 3 days, and you'll be a believer. Trust me. There's everyone in my room that uses it. They'll go down. She's in the room, by the way, so she's always letting us know if there's a problem or whatever, or when you need to roll products. But people in there, if they're down, they're like, I feel blind. I can't trade without the lugs, and it's the truth. They're ridiculous, right? Find out for yourself. Like anything else, you should be confirming for yourself. Lugs and volume events. If you just waited, if you're that patient of a trader, and you just waited for slugs and that's all you traded, you'd probably be $1 million trader in a very short period of time, right? Most people don't have that kind of patience, but if you do, they're pretty golden, in my opinion, obviously. But All right, guys. Do you pay attention to market closes like European closes in 5 minutes? I do not. There are a couple traders in the room. Hellenbach's one of them. He always posts. He finds it important. So that's a perfect example. I don't use that. You find it important? Great. If you get a volume event around that time, you can use that to your advantage. That type of thing, right? That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing with these volume events. All right, I'm probably going to get long here. And you got to remember, the Fed guys start talking at what? Powell's talks at 9 o'clock, so I'd be very, very, very careful of holding it past. Hopefully I can get filled, we can get a rip up, and I can get the hell out before he starts talking. Remember, when these guys start talking, all bets are off. All right, that's it. I do this every day, twice a day in my trade room. Most days, lately the afternoons have been sucking, but twice a day. I get all these emails. Hey, what should I do? Should I get the course before I come in the room, before I mentor with you? As you can learn the stuff on the fly like you're seeing here today, but I'm trading live, so it's going to take you some time to learn the setups and how I trade them. This fast tracks you. You get this, and you learn the stuff, and then when you get in the room or you do the mentoring, you already know what all this stuff is, and you're ready to go. You know all the setups. You know how they trade, the rules. This goes over everything, right? So that's that. And then the trade room is in here, and so on and so forth as far as the link, I think. That's for the spreadsheet and the charts that I use. This is the trade room. Click on that, and then this is everything I'm using. You get discounts to everything. We didn't go over Apex today, but great thing to use if you're not, if you're practicing or you don't have a ton of money to be risking. It's just like having your own little trading firm. So you got the community, and then you can do this, and you got backing. If you got to do is hit their goal. So I'm using the 150 accounts for all these strategies. You got to hit 9,000 before you lose 5,000, and then you're funded, and then you don't have to trade your own money. And it's night and day between trading your own money that you can't lose versus somebody else's money. There's no disputing that. All right, that's it. I will be careful with these 18 Fed guys talking today, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Thank you.